Ooh. There we go. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the episode 3, folks. I am your host, Kareem. I want to say the host with the most, but I got to see how far we can take this first. Welcome back, ladies and gents. Welcome back. So today, got a special guest, Nikki Cusano. She's going to join us today. She is, and it's very, very interesting and very, very special. She is the ambassador liaison of the Sumeria. Did I pronounce that right? Sumeria, right? Foundation, the TSF, and that's the acronyms for it. And she's also a partner of mine at our support group as well for the Samaria Foundation. So, ladies and gents, nothing wrong with support groups. Get into them; they're fun. They are fun. So I don't care what anybody says, how depressing it may be. No, it's not. At least not with our group, anyway. You know, we have really fun discussions and we laugh a lot. So get into a support group and that laughs a lot makes a total difference. And with that said, also, ladies and gents, this is going to be somewhat, and it's not my channel is never to make anyone feel down and depressed. This is supposed to be open, honest feelings, again, where you can laugh and you can tell jokes about yourself. That is absolutely fine. But this episode is supposed to be a little bit more personal. Not too personal if you don't want it to be, but a little bit more personal, a little bit more in depth into the community that deals with NMO. Later on the line, we'll talk about the whole lupus thing, but this is going to be, again, NMO centralized. So you got to glance into individuals who deal with it on the day that they were diagnosed and how that affected their mental health and their overall lifestyle during and post that. So, keep your ears open, keep an open mind, and just ingest what the stories are. All right. And with that said and done, I'm going to introduce and pass the olive branch to our special guest today, Nikki Cusano. I keep messing up names for some reason. I'm excited, Nikki. That's what it is. So, Nikki, say hi to the community, and by all means, you can introduce yourself by stating what you do at the foundation, how'd you get in contact with the foundation, and we can go from there.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, I'm Nikki Cusano. Let's see, the foundation I kind of found because I was laying in my hospital bed looking for something uplifting about the words I didn't understand. When they said you have neuromyelitis optica and don't Google it, I did the exact opposite. I think anyone would. Anyone would. They walked out, and 10 minutes later, I'm looking at stuff that says, 5 years, and you're either going to be blind, in a wheelchair, maybe dead, maybe it's just life-changing, right? So yeah, I was looking for something uplifting, and I found the Voices stories on Samira's website, and I read through those, and I didn't feel alone. I'm like, other people have been through this. And that's kind of where I don't want to say I really ingested everything yet. It took a while. It took about a year. And I actually met her in passing at a patient conference. And she ended up asking if she could tell the 50th story as mine. And I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead, So we did that. And then a short time later, she opened up the ambassador program, and there was 10 of us in the US. And now there is, I want to say 130, and it's over 20 countries. I can't remember if it's 23, 25, somewhere in there. But it quickly turned in, that was 2019 for 10 of us. And now it's just incredible. But on the same hand, it reminds you just how much work there is to be done.
To be done, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I would say, with NMO especially, there's so many questions, right? So a lot of us are misdiagnosed as MS first. My youngest, who will be 12 in a few days, shortly after he was born, I had some flashing lights after laying down in bed at night. I looked at my husband. I'm like, what's going on? This is weird. Um, didn't think anything of it, but then next day it was gone. A little while later, we're at the grocery store and I turn around, I'm like, it's smoky over there. He goes, what are you talking about?
Mm.
It was all optic neuritis in my right eye.
Oh, wow.
And when I finally did, like, I shrugged it off here and there as like, oh, allergies, your eyes are dry, and that. I did have pain, but I'd always had, according to the doctors, migraines. That's what those were. So it was kind of being confused as either a migraine or just allergies, dry eyes, whatnot. Um, when I made it to op the eye doctor, he's like, you need to see it. Ophthalmologist. And when she looked in my eyes, she's like, I think it's, neurological completely.
Mm.
So I had had 2 episodes of optic neuritis they didn't do anything about, they just watched. And I was told suspected MS after lumbar and all the, negative line tests, all the tests.
Right.
Suspected MS, and I can understand that because my father had MS and he was diagnosed in 2005 and he passed in 2010. So it's like,
Mm.
okay, I can see that. But then in 2018, so for New York State, we have a very complicated system when it comes to working with kids with special needs and daycares. So I was in the middle of setting up a daycare through the New York State Medicaid system. I was about 2 weeks out from signing a lease for this daycare facility. And the reason I was doing it is because I had a home daycare and I had special needs kids and I was turning them away. And their rides were like 45 minutes to an hour. So clearly there's a need up here.
Right.
So yeah, and when that happened, I started with a fever. And my husband's like, you're not watching the kids. He texts them at like 4 o'clock in the morning. The next day started with repeated vomiting, like every single day, multiple times a day, to the point where I probably lost 40 pounds in 5 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah. ERs were like, oh, you've got the flu. He's going in there. He's like, I've been drinking her stuff all this time. I'm not sick. No one else is sick. So eventually at the last ER, he's like, no one's considering neuro. And he's taking research articles because they wanted to just do a CT and send me home. And he's basically shoving research articles in the attending space like, hey, we're not leaving until you at least do an MRI. And they went in to do it because it was a weekend. And with that MRI, they're like, so your brainstem lit up like a Christmas tree. You have multiple lesions in your brain, and your cervical spine has some lesions. You're being admitted. And I'm like, okay, told you it wasn't in my head.
Told you. Oh, man.
I mean, by that time, like it started with the vomiting. By that time, though, I was at the point where my husband was holding me up to register at the ER. Like I couldn't hold myself up anymore,
Right.
By the time I was actually admitted and they were really starting to do work, I couldn't go to the bathroom on my own. I had to have somebody with me because my legs would just give out.
Right.
So yeah, it was intense. And then the one doctor, I'll never forget him. He comes in, he's like, I think it's worse than MS. I'm like, what's worse than MS?
Right.
Goes Neuromyelitis Optica. And it's funny because, he says it really fast and he's like, can you say it? And I'm like, I don't want to say it. What is it? I just want to know what it is, right? And he's like, don't Google it. Okay. So they transferred me to another local hospital and they gave me Plex. And it's funny because my other daughter, she's about his age now. She was about 12. She goes, Mom, what's that? I'm like, I got to get my oil changed.
Oh, wow.
Like, so I tried to think about how she would not worry. I'm like, you know how cars need maintenance? Mamas need some maintenance sometimes too. So I mean,
That's smart. I like that.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, my kids, I've always tried to kind of use humor, but also let them know it's going to be okay. It's not going to look
Sure.
like we thought, but it's going to be okay. We'll find a path.
Right, right.
But yeah, so yeah, I've had a whole gamut of different symptoms, I guess you could call them.
Sure.
So,
It was pretty awesome that your husband was there. Like, I think it's that support system, right? Like, I don't think people realize how important that is,
yeah.
especially when it's like out of a blue situation and you have no idea where this thing is coming from. And then you find out what it is. And that's the other thing that gets me. It's like so many things in the world that gets blanketed by all the other things that you hear on the news. And it's kind of like, but there's this thing called NMO, and people go, "What's that?" Well, let me tell you about it. It's crazy because when I got diagnosed last year, January, and not to shade your story, my neurologist, neuroimmunologist, I had to learn how to say that without biting my tongue, told me about NMO. And then just like you, he's like, this is called neuromyelitis optica. And my face, the confusion on my face going, what? It was just kind of like, what is this? And what do we do about it? It was more for me. You give me the information, I read about it, and I apply. That was my whole thing. I was never really like in a scared point or a panic point. I just wanted to know what was going on with me
Right.
because just like you, I had lesions on my cervical, but it was going down the spinal cord. So I ended up with the whole transverse myelitis thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird because I remember going home, I was leaving work, and my left leg, it just stopped. It felt like someone was pulling my leg through the concrete.
Yep.
And it just stopped. And I was just like, all right, let me shake this off. The train station is right there. You can get there. No pains or anything, but I just couldn't move. It went from a complete natural gait to a drag and a stop,
That's crazy. Yeah.
you know? And then because they always say this thing happens very, very quickly on the symptoms. Not mine. It was like so drawn out in a long space of time
Yeah.
that it started affecting my right leg. And literally, my right leg became like Captain Peg leg. It just went from a natural gait to just locking out and just making circles.
Oh, wow.
It was nuts. It was nuts. So, and again, I'm not panicked, but I was like, all right, let me just go to the ER right now. And I hate to say it, I didn't expect to get like definitive answers because their whole scope was pain ratio, pain ratio, pain ratio. I'm like,
Yep.
no, no pain. Exactly what I'm describing to you. This is what it is. But they couldn't get it. So I was like, all right, before I get annoyed in here, just let me leave. So I made the appointment to see my sports medicine doctor, and he put me all through the physical test, the squats, the balance, close your eyes, stand still, all these things. I passed with flying colors, but he's like, you know what? Let's just get the MRI just to clear out any red flags, and we'll go from there. And I remember sitting at my desk at work I went in for the MRI on a Thursday. He calls me on a Friday.
Wow.
On a Friday. And I'm like, hey, I'm willy-nilly, like, hey, doc, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So he says, I'm looking at your scans and I don't know what to make of it because this is out of my scope of practice, but I need you to get back here right now.
Yeah.
Oh, right? It's never good. He said, I don't know how long you're going to be here, but just in case, pack a lot of snacks. I said, pack a lot of snacks. Who says that? Like, who says that? So again, I'm not panicked. I do as he asks. And all of a sudden, I'm pushing the scope a little bit. All of a sudden, I get there at maybe 2:30, and then it's 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the nurse says, "Oh yeah, we got you a bed." I said, "Oh, there's no going home now.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no going home now." So that's when I called my dad and my brother to let them know what's going on. It was like, "Well, what's going on?" I was like, "I still don't really understand it, but this is where I am. Get me some clothes for tomorrow because apparently I'm going nowhere."
Yeah.
So yeah, it happens quick, but
Because like with your legs, it makes me think about how my eyes, they were over a span of time, you know.
mhm,
Honestly, that's where I've lost the most. I can't drive anymore because I have permanent eye damage.
mhm,
My peripheral is gone on the right side. Um, so I mean, I get it. And then, yeah, um, when I did get admitted to the hospital 2 days before that, I'm falling in my bedroom, can't make it from the bed to the bathroom, which is 20 feet. So I mean,
wow,
yeah, some of the stuff comes on real slow, but then you look back and you're like, but that didn't, you know?
yeah,
There were red flags, but it's like if you're not when you're that sick and you're not in the advocacy mode,
yeah,
sometimes you lose sight of what's going on with yourself. And like, you're right. If my husband wasn't around seeing all of this, and mind you, he is dealing with a cat that needed surgery because she had cancer. At the same time, I'm going through this. I'm like, I don't know how you did it. And you got the kids to school on time. And you did this, this, and this. And I'm like, and you cooked and cleaned? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, you were
you
so
know,
human.
you never know who you are until your back is against the wall. It's what I usually say. You never know who you are. People say, "Oh, this is who I am," but when you're pushed up against that
Yeah.
wall and life is knocking, that's how I always look at it that way.
Yeah,
But that
he was my rock, still is to this day.
awesome. Tell him I said hi and kudos to him.
Yeah, he's great.
Kudos to him. Oh my gosh. So in your optics, do you have full vision or like not full vision, but does it still bother you a little bit?
On my right side, it's a little bit foggy. I kind of explain it as like when you step out of the bathroom and your mirror is all foggy
Hmm.
and like you can still see some stuff through it. Like it's not, it was at one point that bad, but now it's a little bit less. But it is the
Okay.
gone. I do get migraines on this side all the time, um, where it starts over my eyebrow. And then by the time
Yeah.
the migraine sets in completely, it feels like I've been hit by a 2x4 back here. It sucks.
Hmm.
And yesterday
I bet.
I'm like, can you make me I call it, can you make me a drink? It's a magnesium drink. That it really does help me. Like, I don't, I don't know if it's, because of the medications we're on, like they deplete the body of so much of what should be there. Um,
Yeah.
so, we try magnesium and a few other things, so it helps. And he does.
Right.
So,
And you said you were on Ultramaris or no?
no, I was on Rituxan.
We talked. Excuse me. And how's that treating you with everything else?
So, up until about 6 or 7 months ago, I was doing okay. We were getting sick a lot last winter.
Hmm.
Um, and then in the summer when I had it, I got a bug bite and I got such an infection from that. They thought it might be a tick bite. It was huge, like it was gigantic.
Wow.
So it was bad. I had to be on antibiotics. It was close to sepsis, but I didn't make it there, thankfully.
Right.
Um, so yeah, Rituxan has got me just way too low. And right now, curveball, um, they're throwing MS back in the mix, and they're like, well, maybe if because Rituxan covers both. They're like, until we figure it out, we'll see what we can do. They're talking about
Mhm.
IVIG. They're going to have an MRI done again. And if they confirm MS, Then we're looking at, I think Kesimpta was one of them, and there was a couple of other meds, like packets that they gave me. So
Mm.
quite honestly, trudging along one day at a time, one struggle at a time. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's if they can figure out exactly what's going on, I would love that. But like I think that attack I had where I was in the hospital for 4.5 weeks, you know what? I'll be on a roller coaster about the diagnosis until we figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
But at least I can walk around, I can work, I can eat things and not have them come back up. Um,
Right.
so I kind of just, I look at the positives in the situation. And I think with me, because I was always Acapor 4 negative, that's
Hmm.
always kind of comes up a lot. Like, well, is it MS? Is it NMO? Is it something else we don't know yet? And I'm like,
Yeah.
Acapor and 4 folks are kind of like, you know, antibody less, and we're kind of thrown in the unknown jungle every once in a while. Like,
Hmm.
what is it exactly you have? I think it'd be great to know so they can treat it appropriately. Because what if I'm on some stuff I don't need to be on?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Wow, man. Like, how did that play with your mental though? So, especially when now they're saying, okay, it may not be this, but it could be this. So you're not even like 50-50. You're kind of like teetering on that one scale where the other one is doing this, and it's just kind of like this. Like mentally, where are you and where were you? So actually deal with something being said like that.
I think for me, I can't focus on what I can't control. Um, with everything that I've been through since NMO, I think if it's anything I've learned is, all right, you aren't the diagnosis that they're labeling you with. You are your own path. Whatever I choose to put my energy into, that's where I'm going to see growth, right?
Hmm.
But if it is, we'll make some adjustments. We'll change things as needed. Um, yeah. I mean, for me right now, I'm kind of like, I don't want to call the neuro right now. I don't want to call her with anything. I don't want to hear about that until she knows for
A
sure.
personal look into an NMO
But yeah,
patient.
I mean, I'm just
Life before, during, and after
taking it
diagnosis.
one step at a
Mental
time.
health,
And what else can you
support
do?
systems,
You know.
treatment, and care.
And then when I heard,
Something else.
yeah,
Yeah.
when I heard NMO, um, they actually asked me, "Do you understand what's happening to you?" And I shook my head, yes. I remember that. And I remember thinking to myself, "Are you effing kidding me?" And they're bringing me down to put the line in, and my husband wasn't there yet. And he gets there. Now I already put some drugs in me to kind of numb me up. And he gets there, and I'm just calm.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, we got this, I think, you know. But yeah, the support system, it's all of the above. Like I said, if it's
Yeah.
we'll deal with it. If it's NMO, we'll deal with it. If it's some other crazy thing, we'll see. We'll see what happens and what
Yeah.
options I'm presented with.
No, I was pretty much on the same path as yourself. Because I mean, the only and other time I was actually in a hospital was the day of my birth. I've never seen the inside of a hospital to say, "Oh, I'm being admitted for something."
Yeah.
But the day I was in there, or the day after, because I spent 24 hours in the ER, and that's just because they didn't have a bed to give me just yet. And yeah, so once I got the bed and they started reading off exactly what well, I actually got all the information in the ER, but when I got to my bed upstairs, that's when it was just kind of like, all right, here comes the study guide for everything. And my neuro, he was just kind of like, you're taking this really calm. Like, what's going through your head right now? I'm like, what am I really supposed to do? I'm here. I need to understand what's going on. I want to know what this thing is. He didn't tell me don't look it up because I was going to do that anyway. Uh, but I need to know what this is, what I'm dealing with, and how I can get out of here. I don't want to be here, you know? And
Yeah.
like you, is this thing going to kill me or not? Like, what is it? Um, so that's what it was for me. I just took it like a big learning experience. And like I said, I was just reading, and the following day I was just applying things to regain my balance. Because funny enough, my symptoms didn't happen strongly until I was actually in my room in that hospital. Like I
Wow.
was fine, so to speak, but the day that I was in my bed, that's when the symptoms started happening.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say for me, it was definitely when I was on the neuro unit that things started to change for me. When I had the plex, um, third, third one, third out of seven, I started actually making a lot of progress. And they're like, they were surprised by it. I'm like, I have kids to go home to. I said, I
Right.
have to keep up with them, even if it's just a little bit. Um, And just like you said earlier, how they didn't get it in the ER. I feel like on that unit, they didn't, some of the nurses that were subbing from other units, they didn't get how my leg felt numb from, you know, about mid-thigh down. Because
Hmm.
I'm like, I can feel the pressure of you doing it, but I don't feel any pain,
Right.
you know? It's just, I wish more people, like even my doctor, my regular physician, my primary physician,
Hmm.
says to me, he goes, we read one paragraph about NMO in med school. And then we were tested on it and never heard about it again. He goes, I had to go do
Oh
it.
my God.
I was like, okay, that's where we are.
And I'm supposed to trust you? A paragraph?
Well, he's a primary, so the fact that he was happy to go ahead and do that research, it kind of reinforced um my trust in him, honestly, because I had him since 2001.
Okay.
He's been a long time, like care partner for my family. My kids, my daughter has him, my mom has him. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's great. But
Till
I,
death do you part.
it's been it's been interesting.
Yeah.
And then, when I come home and I have a walker, you know, my youngest was like, I think it was 3. I think it was 3 when that happened. And like my legs are tight, but we have a Dutch colonial house. It's beautiful, but it's got a lot of stairs. Um, and there's a minimum of 12 stairs to get up to get into the living level. It's kind of like set on top of the garage. It's crazy, but it's cool. Um, and I remember my legs starting to lock up as we're coming up the stairs in the back. And he's like, Mommy, you wait, I go get your walker. He knew where it was in the bedroom. And I was just like, okay, so he's seen this and it's built a little compassion in that 3-year-old little mind of his. You
Right.
know, I do feel like it's taken a little bit from my kids though. Like
Hmm.
I can't drive them to soccer practice and all the things after school. He called me the other day and didn't feel good, and I'm like, well, bud, you're gonna have to wait till Dad can get you. Uh,
Yeah.
because I can't drive, but it's right down the street. I'm like,
Mm.
emergency situation, I'll get an Uber and come get you and Uber back. No big deal. It's not about the money. It's just, it's a huge inconvenience, I'll be honest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
You know,
For sure.
upstate New York isn't like New York City where you can, where I am, you have to walk to get to public transit. So
Mm.
yeah, it's no fun on that part.
Especially in the wintertime.
Yeah. No, my daughter works about half a mile up the road and she gets rides during the winter. Like she can walk the back roads in the summer, no problem.
Mm.
Fun. We live on a busy street. Um, so yeah.
Or something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. That's one of the things for me too. I mean, I don't have kids yet, but my niece and nephew are just like I would treat them like nothing less, right? And I don't want to call it a regret, but it's one of those things where running around with them in a playground, that's my thing. Like I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to know like if I need to dash over there to help them out with something because it's necessary, I want to be able to do that without my legs just tensing up and not understanding like, hey, we don't run. What are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
So that's a thing in my head to like really try to knock down that wall for my body to understand like, no, this is what we do. This is your background. You come from doing this. Let's get back to it. But I think I've been fortunate enough to still go to the playground with them and see them play and pick them up and put my niece in a swing and pick my nephew up so he can, use the monkey bars and things like that. I'm really ecstatic about that. But that whole running thing, I'm just kind of like, man, it's taking something away from me.
Yeah, for sure. Right after we came home from the hospital, I'd say about a month or two later, I was outside with him and I had been able to like walk around a bit more because I stayed in therapy and whatnot.
Mhm.
And like mentally, I kind of forgot for a few minutes. I got carried away in the moment with him that I needed to be careful. And I start kind of like not running, but sort of like going a little faster behind him. And all of a sudden, I felt like the ground was coming up at my face. I was not falling. It was just like this perception of it that
Yeah,
just threw me for a loop. I'm like, all right, mommy's got to sit down, you know? So,
that's something else. Yeah, oh, I get it.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned PT. So my experience in PT, I don't want to call it bad, but it wasn't the most progressive,
Yeah.
right? So while I was actually in the hospital, I started my own PT before seeing the PTs. So when they finally got to me, I was already walking and navigating through crowded hallways and not falling. And, you know, like the
Yeah.
running part still wasn't there, but navigating through a hallway where they're going code this, code that, and doctors are running at you. And I'm able to like navigate and not trip over my feet. They were just like, what are we supposed to do with you? I was already walking up and down stairs. So again, it was just kind of like read, apply, read, apply, read, apply, and putting that to use. So once I got up the hospital and I was supposed to continue with PT, I was just kind of like, no, this isn't it. Like you guys are not understanding. I'm beyond this, like we have to step this up a little bit. So for lack of a better term, I was getting really bored and I was getting pissy about it because I know they saw it, but they just wanted to keep it at this level,
Yeah.
and I was like,
That line. And like
yeah,
you're gonna be. And it's like, I'm not settling for that.
right. I don't want to be here forever, like pump this up or else I will, or else I'll just cut out. And that's what happened. It was just kind of like I would progress these things on my own so they can see it, but they weren't taking it as face value. And I was just kind of, you know what? I'm out of here, you
Yeah.
know? So,
I think for, where I was on the neuro unit at it's a learning hospital in Albany.
mm,
And they're learning, they're like the attendings that are coming in, they were great. Um so they're kind of like teaching people how to do it. And the fact that
mm,
it's not the neuro unit, I think they were more specialized in the neuro therapies, the neuro. I think someone mentioned the word neurophysiotherapy. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I
yeah.
just get me where I need to be. I remember them bringing me like it wasn't slime, it wasn't Play-Doh. It's just like mushy with beads inside. They're like, all right, this is your fine motor therapy for the day. Get all those beads out. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then when I was out too, the therapist that I had in the community, she worked with um so we have a rehab hospital over here called Sunnyview, and they also have a very intensive neuro specialty. So I guess that in a way I've been lucky enough to be able to make those connections within my community. Because there's a lot of people that don't have that. I know plenty of patients that have to leave state completely to either get care, infusions, therapies, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was lucky in that area. A lot of my providers just kind of fell in place nicely.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative for my providers as well because they all know each other. Although they may work in different buildings, they all know each other. And my infusion center driving is about 8 or 10 minutes away from my house, or about 30 minutes walking. So I was just kind of like, yes, score. Who gets that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, I was really appreciative of that.
getting involved with the foundation, it really kind of leveled up my understanding of advocacy and honestly, my networking with some of these neurologists. I laying in that bed, never once thought I would be emailing, top-notch doctors,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
working side by side with them on initiatives. Like, if you told me that, I would have laughed in your face. Would have been like, yeah, okay, who? You know? You're not talking to me, right? You're talking to my roommate. You know? Um, but yeah, it's really kind of opened up a lot for me. Um, I've recently started another role with another like patient advocacy organization, patient relations. And that's really like I never said I would work in corporate, but the only way I want to work in corporate is if it's in patient advocacy, if it's
Mm.
putting that patient voice first. So this opportunity kind of found me, and I was just like, yeah, I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Don't you don't you love how the universe works though? It's like you don't look for things, but it knows where you should be. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It took me a while to kind of go from, you know, being with the foundation, and then also at that time I wasn't working at all. So it was helping me keep my skills kind of fresh,
Mhm.
but on the same hand, just plugging in so my computer doesn't die. Yell at me.
Mhm.
Um, Keeping my skills fresh was important to me because I remember how fast I felt like everything kind of darkened right
Yeah.
before I got diagnosed. And I'm like, nothing can slip. Nothing can slip. We're going to keep where we're at. I want to read all the books because I can still see great out of my left eye. I mean, I've always liked to read, but now I appreciate it even more.
Right. Yeah, 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 for sure. No, I get that, man. It was like I said, my journey in the hospital, I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks, every other day doing infusions. But I think the blessing that I realize now is that I got to talk to a lot of patients who were not on their best behavior, and I don't know how this happened, but I was able to talk them out of a lot of things that they wanted to do that they weren't supposed to do.
Oh boy.
And a lot of the nurses saw that and they were just like, how did you do that?
Crying for days. Yeah.
Don't ask me. We just started speaking, and all of a sudden, this guy and this girl were just kind of like, okay, you can do that now. You can put that IV in. Like, don't worry, I won't cut this and I won't cut the cut. Like, it was interesting.
Wow, it's intense. I remember for me, my most intense was listening to the girl like two rooms down. She was in her own isolated room because she kept yelling over and over about
Mhm.
me. I'm just like, now what time does this stop? When can I go home?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
I was there for like I went in the day before Mother's Day, so Mother's Day has kind of a new meaning for us. Um,
Mhm.
and I was out the day before my mother's birthday.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Just about just about 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Special. Very, very special.
Yeah. So the month of May is interesting for me. The official diagnosis came in June. And then at the time it was 5 years, from Google. So right around the 5-year mark, we took a picture of, it's on my phone somewhere, but the laptop had Google on it, right?
Hmm.
And there's a picture of me just flipping off Google, like, see, I beat you, you know? You gotta find the positives and the way to laugh at things, because otherwise,
Always.
you know, my husband gets it. My daughter gets it. She's 20 now.
Hmm.
I don't think he's seen that picture. He doesn't need to yet. We can wait.
Like he's been through enough.
But yeah, I mean, I've been through a lot since then, and I gotta say, it's just, you gotta focus on what's good and what
Yeah, for sure.
you're going, you know.
Absolutely. I totally agree 100%. 100%. Nicole, so, and this has been a thing. I've had this question before, and I've never really suffered any significant, horrible flare-ups, so to speak. That none that ever had detracted me from doing things or going anywhere. Maybe very, very early in my onset, because they're trying to navigate all these different feelings and these symptoms. And it's just like, what is this? Am I getting a cold? Like, what is this? Have you ever had any symptoms like that? Those invisible symptoms?
I've had a couple, and at first it was like, oh, I don't want to call the doctor. I don't want to be a pain in the butt. And then I'm like, wait a minute, no, they work for me, you know? So for me, honestly, um, it wasn't even a flare up. I thought it might be. I was starting to get those, like the banding feeling. That was one of them. And then when I came home and started to get a lot of like mobility back, the pain I had in my leg was just like, I hadn't felt that yet. I was like, what is that? And why is it twitching like
Mhm,
that? Um,
mhm.
so, and come to find out, it wasn't a relapse. It was just, my
Part
body's
of it.
make new connections and stuff like that. No one explained that to me. So of course I was like, you
Yeah.
know, but for me, I had always kept like a physical written journal of what was going on. And then if it lasted,
Yeah.
they had always told me 24 hours, but I would call my regular doctor first and be like, so what do you think? You know? Um, and usually if it sounded neuro, he's like, call the neuro. If it sounded gas,
Yeah.
he was pretty good about saying where to go. But yeah, I do recognize now that calling the neuro is probably a good idea, especially if the neuro conditions. But that's how I was in the beginning. And then something I've moved to recently, because I didn't always have that notebook with me. So I went
Mm.
and I'm like, I don't have that with me. All right. And it's really cool. And I by no means would ever tell somebody to pay for an app, but I bought a subscription to this app called Bearable. And it's incredible. Um, it tracks everything from my mood, my sleep. If I took all my medications, it's got reminders on it for the medications. It'll ask what the weather's like. And then after so long, it'll give me these insight reports being like, oh, when it gets past 80 degrees, you start to feel this or you start to feel that. And that has been a game changer in the last couple of years because I've really been able to anticipate some things just based on those insights because I can't track all that. Like,
Right, right, right. It was funny. I was going to ask you if you ever felt differently for changing of the seasons as well.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I get these concrete legs, is what I call them when I get tired. And
Mm.
it's the worst. Like, that really, really humid period right after it rains.
Yes.
Yeah, especially in the summer in New York.
Hmm.
That is the worst. And I'm not a big fan of ACs all the time. And I think it stems from like breathing issues. When I was a kid, I had asthma and all that. But so a lot of times if I can handle it, the fan is on and the AC is off.
Right.
It's over, if it's over 80, the AC is going on, I'm closing windows. But, those kind of like early summer days that are just, it's there, it wants to take hold. Those are the worst. I mean, I like summer, but I like fall better because I'm not in as much pain, to be honest.
Right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm a shorts and t-shirt guy, but I also have to be careful in the summer because since this whole NMO thing, I almost forgot like lupus is also a part of my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I mean, I've never had like a very bad episode with lupus, so everything was pretty much in checks and balances there.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's been times I'm just like, oh wow, yeah, that's part of my medical history too. But since NMO came on, it was just kind of like lupus. Who has lupus? Oh yeah, I do. No, I do. So summertime, I have to be very, very careful about being in the sun at certain points of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm such an outdoorsy person. It's like the hardest thing for me to stay indoors when it's nice outside.
Yeah.
But these things I've definitely got to check for now. And like I went apple picking this past summer with my family, and it didn't even take a full day. By the time we were done and we got back in the car, I had like these things on my arm, like as though I got burned.
Yeah.
It was just like these little, well, not,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like these little patches, and they were like burgundy. And my nephew looked, he's like, "Uncle, got some boo-boos." And I looked and I was like, "Where'd this come from? They weren't there this morning."
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, what, maybe like I touched a bush or like some bugs got on me or whatever. But I'm like this far up my shoulder, like no way. Then I realized it was the sun and the heat, and it's just like,
Yeah,
okay,
like a lot of the medications, like I don't know if you're on like symptom management medications. So sometimes stuff like the gabapentins and the Lyricas, if you're in the sun with those, that can exacerbate whatever you're dealing with. Um,
mhm,
so yeah, I mean and get this, I don't really absorb vitamin D very well.
hmm,
So we're trying to bring it up and it's like staying at, oh, I don't know, 9, 10, 12. Like that's
oh,
extremely low. Um, and I try to stay outside with my son as much as I can. Sometimes I have to be in the shade, but that's okay.
right,
It's tough. You kind of figure it out as you go.
yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You kind of figure it out and see what feels good to you, and
Mhm.
then omit, that part if it doesn't. Because I feel like with autoimmune, there's no real right answer to things, and
Every day is different too. Like this past weekend on Saturday, I woke up and my feet felt like I was walking on glass for the first couple hours, which was just neuropathy. But,
right,
you know, laid down, took a nap, and I was fine afterwards. So I mean, it like really it can be different from 1 hour to the next, not just one
right,
day to the next.
yeah,
Um,
totally,
and that puts a hampering on things sometimes. Like my kids want to go to Sky Zone or the trampoline parks, or we had a weekend where we wanted to go to like an amusement park, and it's like I can't be out the way I used to be out.
hmm,
So yeah, and then we had the conversation the other night about casinos and arcades, and you know how they've got those bright lights on the side.
yes,
Every time I leave there, I've got a headache. And I'm like, maybe.
those lights, yeah. And it's funny. So I had Dora on the channel last week.
I love Dora.
Um,
She's
yeah, she's awesome. And we were talking about lights and therapeutic lighting and how that could possibly affect symptoms and things like that. And yeah, she was right on the money. She said if anything else, try to get natural sunlight rather than being under these artificial lights, because one, they may not do anything for you, or two, they just may exacerbate symptoms and you don't even know it.
exactly.
So yeah, we had a really good conversation about that last week. Um, yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. Oh my gosh. What did I want to ask you again? You got any questions for me? Go for it. It's fine.
Um, Not entirely, other than how'd you find our group? You were a great addition and you should come back.
You know, I definitely want to. Has there been another group meeting lately? Because I haven't gotten the emails for some reason too.
First Thursdays, but I'm also not handling the emails as much as I used to be.
Oh, okay. That may be it.
A transition.
That maybe I got lost somewhere in the shuffle.
But
No,
yeah,
I'd definitely like to be back.
I just click the link. You're welcome to any of them.
Awesome. Thank you. Now that I know, because I was wondering, I was like, our last meeting was in January. What happened to everybody? I mean, not a permanent vacation. What's yeah.
The only reason it was a second week in January is because of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do it right on the holiday. So every other month it's first Thursday. No,
Okay.
second Thursday, my bad. I think that second Thursday. I'll check our calendar and let you know.
Yeah, for sure. And then too, I've also been sidetracked with this because I had this in my head for so long to do it, and I was just kind of like, what's the best way? What's the best way? You know, and I was just like, you know what? Screw the best way. Just jump in hands and feet and just, get things done. So how I found out about the TSF was very accidental. From one of my patient care educators, Kim Chirella from Alexion. Yeah. I forget how we get in contact, but again, even that connection was very, very accidental.
Right.
And we sat on the phone and we were speaking to each other like we knew each other for years.
Yeah.
And again, it was just my curiosity about educated on what was going on and how to do things, and and she just kept giving me the information. She never got tired. We were laughing and talking and just feeding me the information, and till present day she's still in contact with me. She was one of the two first guests I had on the very first episode of doing this. So yeah, so shout out to her. So I've had three, I'm gonna count this one as three very successful episodes so far. So I'm really proud of this already, and
It's
it's going.
I feel like there's not enough dialogue out there, right? Not enough podcasts, not enough like it needs to everybody knows what cancer is. Everyone knows what sclerosis is, leukemia, even some of the other rheumatology things,
Yeah,
So it's really it's hard because right now you've got a lot of people that still to this day don't know what those acronyms stand for. Also,
right.
whoever tried to say MOG all the way through, like the actual word.
Now, 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 now. That's really what it comes down to. Now, 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 now. Let me start over.
It took me like 4 months to get it down.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous, and yeah,
something else.
um,
No, yeah, it's something. And then too, when you speak about this, and I really don't like when people say this, it takes a lot in me to like stifle my anger. When you say, "Oh yeah, when I wake up and on certain landmarks in my body, I don't have feeling," and they go, "Oh yeah, it's like what I have." I'm like,
mhm,
no, what you have is arthritis. What I have is something completely different.
yeah,
Stop trying to coordinate what you have and what I have. We're not the same. Do
yeah,
not insult me this way, stop insulting me. So
yeah,
it takes a lot.
yeah, it does. And honestly, you know, I usually clap back with, well, like, how's your diet? Because if you're eating something inflammatory, then you
Right.
know, it
Yeah,
just kind of culturally, we're kind of very like taboo with diet and body image.
sure.
So it's like, if you're gonna sit there and compare your disease to mine, I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, how's your diet?
Right.
Very kind of, right?
With no gloves on, just
Totally, totally.
it's oh my gosh. No, but you're right though. It's not enough dialogue. It's not enough. I mean, there's a lot of literature. It's very, like I
Yeah.
said, blanketed under everything else because
And
the
it's very
cancer.
science. Like the words are very technical in language. Not, it's not something that I could hand my retired parents and say, this is what's going on, and have them really understand it.
Mhm.
Like I have to kind of explain things differently, and that it's different
Yeah.
all the time. Like,
And that's the hard part because you never know what you're gonna get day to day.
yeah, and my mom's got diabetes, and she's like, I have neuropathy in my feet. I kind of know what you feel like. And I'm like, I know you mean well. I love you.
Go back to bed, mom.
Mhm. Her pain, I get it. Her pain's painful too. It's just a different kind of pain, mom. That's all,
Mhm.
you know?
Right.
Like, yes, neuropathy.
Yeah.
You can't look at neuropathy.
Yeah. It's something else.
Yeah. It's like saying, okay, headaches and migraines are the same thing. No, they're not, you know? Yeah. So
It was like, what would you prefer, the headache or the migraine? That's what you were saying.
either. Either. Oh gosh. I feel like we've had enough of like symptoms in general in life. If you've done NMO, you get a free pass on everything else. No more headaches,
Yeah.
no more stomach aches, nothing. Oh,
It's a different episode to the public, like whoever tunes into this, like it's a different episode. Life becomes very, what's the key word we should use here, Nikki? What
unpredictable, volatile, but
there
at
we
the
go.
not not in a negative way. Like there is positivity in every single situation. I don't care what it is. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up breaking both of my toes within a month of each other, but that means in Vegas I had a little ride on scooter.
Mm,
And that, those touristy people that try to sell you things on the street,
yeah.
she was coaching me, and I was able to take that scooter and just go. My husband's back there getting bombarded by her, and I'm like, so there's your positive from that ortho experience,
Yeah.
We'll laugh about it.
Yeah.
That happened 3 years ago. Hold on. But yeah, that's
That's
really,
hilarious.
yeah, it is volatile. It can
No,
change day to day,
I
but
think that I think I think that might be the hard part for a lot of people who live with this. They can't find something of a light,
yeah.
to get them into the next step or the next day. Like instantly, it's kind of like life's over. I can't do anything. I'm just debilitated.
I
And
mean,
I don't think it's not about your debility. It's just, you just may have to change things around for you to, do things.
before animal, I like to say I was an overthinker. Like I would think about
Mm,
every situation I could and how it could play out. And that was my control back then. It's like, all right, I've covered all the scenarios. One of these is going to happen. I'll deal with it. But really, it was just me being anxious, you know.
mm,
And then when NMO hit, it was like, all right, you have no control. You don't know what this is going to do. You don't
right.
know what 5 years is going to look like. You don't know what 10 years is going to look like. Um, you don't know what 20 years is going to look like, and the best I can do is take care of myself. I can, follow my doctor's advice, even if I don't know what they have up their sleeves. And that's the other thing. If you feel like you don't agree with your doctor, it's okay to get a second, third, fourth opinion. Like,
Yeah.
you got to keep going until it feels right in your gut.
Right.
So, yeah, you can't stop and be like, woe is me, because Yeah, nothing changes with woe is me. You gotta shed that. You gotta keep fighting.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that. That is
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Um, is there anything you want to add before we close out, Nikki? I feel like, on the other hand, this has been very, very great. This particular episode having you on here. So thank you
Thank you.
to spending some time, and definitely good to see you outside the group. Although I want to still see the group, and be able to share this with them. But yeah, any lasting words you'd like to leave with the public?
Um, build your team. So whether that's your doctors, whether it's getting therapy, I got therapy a couple times during this whole thing. Support groups, especially ours, super fun.
Yes.
Um, what else? Just take care of yourself, you know, get yourself into a good headspace. And that could be a big part of it is people don't think they have the support. But a lot of times when you take those shades off, there's a lot more support than you realize. I didn't realize who was in our corner until I got as sick as I was. So, yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah. Um, you want to leave any info on how folks can get in contact with you if that's something, or if you want to leave a contact for the foundation?
Um, if they're looking to contact the foundation, they can go ahead and email contact@samirafoundation.org.
Mhm.
If they're looking to get me in particular, I can share my social with you and you can go ahead and give them that.
Awesome. Yes. So, ladies and gents, we'll close out here, and I'll grab all the specific information from Nikki, and I will be able to share that with you later on once video has been edited and posted. You'll probably see us tomorrow prior this live interaction. But yeah, ladies and gents, thank you for jumping into another wonderful stream, episode 3. I'm really having fun with this, man. I never thought I'd be a host of anything, but this is cool. This is
I never thought that like I would be comfortable talking about my disease in public. I am with people, like you won't get me on TikTok or YouTube alone doing it. But this is nice, that open dialogue between other people.
yeah, I feel like it's very therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's very, very therapeutic. It gets a lot off your shoulders. So it's as long as the dialogue is healthy and not too pressing, you know. 'Cause you never want to back someone into a corner to make them feel like I gotta fight my way out of this. So
Yeah,
this is
sure.
how I orchestrated this. Good conversation. We laugh, we talk, get things off your shoulders, and you learn.
Yeah.
You learn who people are and how they're dealing with things. Ladies and gents, wonderful episode. Always glad to see you guys. I'm glad to share these things with you because it's brand new to myself as well. So as I go, I am learning, and what I'm learning, I am presenting towards you, especially the people that I'm in contact with and the people that I am probably going to be in contact with. I don't know them yet, but I'll shake their hands right about now in a phantom way. Um, Looking forward to seeing you guys on the next stream, ladies and gents. Same bat place. I don't know about the bat time, but you're going to get a time in there, and the same bat location. Ladies and gents, thank you again. Nikki, thank you for jumping into the stream. We'll hope to have you back at some point in time because you are a friend to the room, much like the other 3 folks who are friends to the room. Ladies and gents, with that said and done, be kind to yourselves, be kind to one another, and we will see you again soon. All right? Be well, folks. And where'd it go? Did it? No. Cancel. I don't think it stopped, Nikki. I'll edit this out later, but okay, there it is.